Welcome fellow retro gamers to a new type of video for Retro Game On. These videos won't be that regular, but just short segments to break up my release schedule when I need a breather. I'm sure my 40 or so regular viewers will understand. Oh, and by the way, you guys are awesome. Thanks for viewing. Anywho, in this segment, let's take a peek at retro ports on modern devices. Be it PSN, PS1 games, smartphone ports, that sort of thing. I must stress that these won't be reviews of the actual games themselves, but instead I'll be talking shit about how the port itself holds up. Today we take a look at Abe's Oddysee, a PS Vita port originally on the PlayStation 1. This cost me $7.35 on the PS Vita's version of the PlayStation PSN, a far cry from buying the actual thing online. Most of the cheaper copies are a fairly reasonable $30, but some muppets are trying to offload it around the $80 mark, like it can shit canned gold or something. Ultimately, $30 isn't that expensive, but I'm the type of dude who likes picking up $2 copies from thrift stores and the like, and then bragging about it on the internet. Having this game available on a portable system gives way to many different ways of playing besides from your living room. This includes, but is not limited to, on your bed, in the bathroom, and instead of talking to your girlfriend. Convenience 101. First thing you notice is that the screen probably isn't quite big enough. The PS Vita's 5-inch monster may be impressive in some circles, but there is quite a lot going on in this game at any one time. The nature of how the graphics are represented in this game too, being of the pre-rendered variety, means that there is a lot of detail I have trouble seeing. Who knows, I could just be a blind fool though. So much of a blind fool in fact, I don't even realise I'm blind. Ha! Ignorance is bliss though. Sometimes the enemies just blend into the background too, which may be okay when it's on a telly, but on a 5-inch screen it can be a problem. However, after a while though, you do come to realise what you're looking out for, and it does get easier. I had one hell of a time figuring out what the equivalent of the L2 and R2 buttons were, since this is the first PS1 port I've played on the Vita, which of course only has 2 back triggers. I couldn't find any help on the device, since the help instructions were for the PS3 version, and in the end I had to Google it. Too much of a mess around really, just to find out what the controls are. I should have made the solution way more apparent. As it turns out, by default the L2 and R2 buttons are particular sections of the back touchpad, which is by all accounts, balls. R2 is a sneak button in the game, and you have to hold it down while moving to actually be one sneaky ass motherfucker. Since it's only part of the back pad though, not just half of it like you would think would be most logical, I often press the wrong part in the heat of the moment, resulting in my demise as Abe. Luckily for both Abe and I though, I could reprogram the controls so the L2 and R2 triggers turned into corners of the screen. Again, not the most ideal way to play, but at least I can see where I'm pressing. Since it is a PS1 game too, the aspect ratio is not widescreen, meaning there are black bars on either side of the action, meaning I don't have to press over any on-screen gameplay. As far as I can tell, the game isn't very buggy, which always makes me somewhat of a happy chappy. Abe does get stuck sometimes though. It's a bit odd too, since I can still fart and whatnot while also accessing the menu, but I have to reload my save file to continue playing. A mild inconvenience for sure, but not a total game breaker. At the end of the day, I'm quite content with this port. It's been quite an experience being able to play Abe's Oddysee of all things on my lunch break. I would probably play it on public transport too if I had to take any, but luckily I don't because public transport is horrible. I feel that $7.35 may be a bit too steep for a port of a game that's over 15 years old, and should be around the $5 mark, but even then, what does $2.35 mean these days? I should stop being so cheap. Anyway, as always, thank you for being so mad dog with your awesome subscribing and liking skills, and I'll catch you next time.